Hi, my name is Jeffro, and this is Digital Dominance, the podcast for service-based small business owners who are ready to seize the recognition and growth that their company deserves. You've worked hard to build a business you're proud of. Now it's time for Digital Domination. Welcome back to Digital Dominance, where we aim to empower service-based business owners with cutting-edge insights and actionable strategies in digital marketing. Today, I'm joined by Ashley Marshall, CFO of Tier Level Digital Marketing. Ashley's expertise ranges from creating impactful marketing strategies to navigating the complexities of leadership in the digital space. Now, Ashley's journey from an account manager to a C-suite executive at a leading digital marketing firm is not just inspiring, but also rich with lessons on overcoming professional challenges and leveraging digital tools for business growth. So in today's episode, we will focus on three crucial areas: tackling imposter syndrome, embracing self-care, and defining success, and how this all relates to digital marketing. So it's my hope that today's discussion will provide you, our listeners, with practical advice and innovative approaches to enhance your marketing efforts and achieve your business goals. Thanks for joining me today, Ashlie.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited too. And for those who are listening and not watching, Ashley's got pink headphones to match her pink hair. So it's a great look.
Yes, I do.
Well, I like it. I just had to call it out. Ashley, we talk a lot on this show about how important it is to engage in digital marketing. All right. Now, whether that's posting on social media or running ads, you've got to be doing some kind of campaign. But one thing we rarely touch on is how imposter syndrome can get in the way of people taking action. I think there's a lot of people who don't feel qualified to speak as an authority, which of course makes it hard to write a compelling narrative or record a video with the necessary confidence. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, that's a really, really great point to make. So imposter syndrome plays a lot of different roles for different people. And it can also, like you said, become a huge blockade for a business, right? Especially our newer, smaller businesses when they don't really feel, quote unquote, as though they are qualified enough to be in their space, right? So on a personal level, right, we always have those doubts in ourselves and things that we're like, well, should I really be speaking on this? Am I really fully educated in this realm? Do I really know what I'm talking about? And it kind of makes you take that stutter step forward in making different decisions personally. But the way that that can compoundly affect your business is if your people see you being hesitant on your team due to that thought in your head, they're going to in turn also be hesitant to take those actions and make those comments or write those articles or create that post. So it's really important to lead by example in those situations and definitely take it head on and realize that the imposter syndrome is just something essentially that we've put in our head that we can't do it, or that we're not capable, or that we shouldn't be on this panel having this discussion. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but lean on your experience, lean on your knowledge, lean on the things that you have done, and then continue to educate yourself. And if you're doing those things actively, your team will see you doing those things actively, and they in turn will take that step forward to continue to do those things. And the imposter syndrome tends to not go away, but it's less loud. If that makes sense.
It's easier to ignore.
It's not the first thing you hear in your head, right? Yeah. And then as a business, you will have that marketing and that message and that impact on others, regardless of whether you think you deserve that position or not. It will be there because you are capable and you do have what it takes and your business is valuable. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a business. You have the position you have because your services or your products are needed. So take that stance. Do the action required to help muffle down that imposter syndrome in your head and encourage your team to do the same thing. And then as a business, it comes together as a whole.
And stop comparing yourself to others too, because sometimes you even look at like, oh, I have all this experience, but I haven't done this yet. And you kind of use that to keep yourself down.
Yes. And what's crazy is you see other people doing it. And what you say to them in response to that, to encourage them and to remind them of what they have accomplished and the things that they do know and how capable they are, you then are like, well, why don't I say those things to myself? I wouldn't say that to my coworker over here, what I'm saying to myself. So let's put it into practice. Let's take that step and definitely 100% do not compare yourself to other businesses, to other people in your role. If I sat comparing myself to other CFOs, I have no idea what I would find, but it wouldn't be positive, that's for sure. So I'm definitely am a firm believer in that also. Do not compare yourself, especially coming from a childhood where there was a lot of comparison going on. I think generationally, that's what it was like growing up. It's definitely hard to not do that. But again, positive positive talk to your team, positive talk, encouraging, reminding what you have done, have achieved, and move forward from there.
Yeah. And I also think if you find yourself in this place a lot, you're feeling like an imposter and you're like, well, I know I've got, like, why do I keep getting stuck here? You've got to take a step back and evaluate, okay, what are there other things I believe about this position that are getting in the way? So have I believed someone else's definition that a CFO has to wear a pantsuit every day? Okay, but why? That's not in the job description, right? And so you got to start looking at those things and figure out, where maybe you're keeping yourself back.
Yeah. For me personally, I remember starting off in this role. One of the things that I did, which helped me essentially at the beginning, was to look at different job descriptions of a CFO and look at what those focuses entailed in terms of what did they focus on? What did they look at? What were their main objectives for their role? And then how does that relate to what I do on a daily basis? And then does it even relate to what my company is needing from me in this role? And then defining that on my own without looking at, we're a small company. We're a small business. We are essentially still considered a startup at this moment in time. And looking at a CFO's roles and responsibilities for a Fortune 500 corporation is probably not realistic, right? At all. So reading those things and educating yourself in certain realms, but then taking a step back and looking at how what you're looking at and what you're educating yourself on applies to where you and your business are is huge. It's very instrumental in you understanding where your business is, where you want it to go, and how you're going to get it there, understanding what you're reading and what you're educating on and how it applies to where you are at this moment, not where you want to be in 5 years, not where you want to be in 10 years. So yes, big work to do there to keep imposter syndrome at bay and really lean on your own education.
And I think it doesn't help too that so many of us are working remotely because maybe we're not dressing as nicely as we were before. We feel like we're slouching in our chair all the time. It's maybe the windows aren't bringing in a lot of natural light, or you're like not eating enough snacks, whatever it is. We've had this mental divide between home, personal life, and work life for so long that now we're doing work in the home setting. It kind of can throw us off too.
Interesting. Yes. For the most part, for most people in the workforce today, that's absolutely true. I have been working from home for much longer than that. When I started working for Tier Level, I was working from home. That was well before the pandemic. Our entire company was set up to be a fully remote company. We did not have an office. We did not have anything. We were provided a computer and that was it, right? And so when I transitioned into this role, I was accustomed to working from home, but I was not accustomed to working from home in a role that was much more, I don't want to say stressful because that's a negative connotation, but much more demanding, right? It demanded a lot more of my time and attention and more pouring into other people as a leader than I was used to. And so there was a transition there, switching from, being just a basic account manager and being client facing and having a list of tasks. And once those tasks were done, I could close my computer and everything was fine, to now I'm in a role where I am having to proactively plan for an entire team of people and proactively budget and proactively forecast and, do all of these things that required more time, more investment of my brain power and attention. And there are times being a mom and working from home that it was challenging, right? Some days you feel like a complete failure as a parent. And then some days you feel like, man, I could have gotten more accomplished in my workday, right? So it's like a delicate balance that goes up and down all day long.
Do you have any advice for other owners who are feeling that, overwhelmed or maybe underqualified when it comes to actually creating a digital marketing campaign? So it's great to talk about this stuff and I gotta, figure out what my own holdups are. But at the same time, you gotta bring clients in the door and I gotta get this campaign rolling. What do I do there?
So for our clients, digital marketing, we ask really difficult questions. So what I would pose to a business owner who's not quite sure what to do with their digital marketing plan, and they're overwhelmed with all the other things that come along with running a business or being a parent or being a human in the world, right? Just all of those things are very heavy. You have to have a vision of where you want your business to go, right? What are your goals? Do you want to reach a certain revenue status? Do you want to be listed in the Forbes, top 500 companies to work for, or the highest revenue earning for a startup, right? There are all these different things, all these different goals that you can set. Pick those goals, pick whatever they are, reach for the stars. Okay. But then once you've written them down, we need to back up and we need to say, okay, in terms of digital marketing, what is the best path to get your business to that goal? Is it ads? Is it SEO? Is it social media? Are you providing products? Are you providing a service? Who's your target audience, right? There's all these questions that go into creating a digital marketing plan. And so for us, we ask the big questions. What's your goal for next year? Where did we fall short this year? Or if they haven't been our client, where did you fall short in your marketing efforts from your perspective? What are your goals for next year? And then let's break that down into, okay, these are the things that we have found in our area of expertise of digital marketing that will provide you with the results you're looking for. But being realistic about the results, digital marketing speaking, right? If we're talking about digital marketing, what results are we looking at? What are you using to gauge the success of your digital marketing strategy? Let's talk about that a little bit, because it's very important that you understand what results can be changed by digital marketing and what cannot. And then understanding how your digital marketing plays into your marketing strategy overall. Because let's face it, no business can rely solely on the internet to run. You have to have other factors of marketing working for you simultaneously to be successful in what you're doing, right? Whether that is in-person marketing or whether it is live marketing online. It can't just be what we're typing out for you on the computer screen, right? There's a lot of factors that go into that. So what are your goals? Bring that back to understanding how what digital marketing does for you can help you reach those goals. In what way? Let's talk analytics and what results we expect to see. And then let's break that down to, okay, then here's the service that you need, or here are the things that you need to be doing consistently to get to there. And then be realistic about that timeline.
Yeah. Well, and I think working with an agency or someone who's experienced is kind of a shortcut to help you through that imposter syndrome, right? Because
yes,
they're going to kind of push you to hey, you need to answer this question, or you need to have this done by Thursday. And you kind of are forced to answer the hard questions or record the video. And they're going to push back and say, hey, thanks for setting the first draft, but can you try saying it this way? Or, pointing that stuff out and catching that before it goes live, because sometimes we have our blind spots, right? And so
100%.
Having an expert there to help is a huge factor. All right.
Yeah. Having that support system too. We always have multiple people eyeballs on different things that have been written. So if you have a group of people you can lean on, do it, use them.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good time to kind of move to our next topic of self-care. As business owners running business, it's quite stressful at times. Sometimes the go nature of things can last months at a time. And, you see people posting on social media about how you need to grind harder to get ahead, but maybe that's not the only option, but you want to, but you're tired. And so how do you prioritize self-care? Let's start there.
Put it on your calendar. For me, I keep 4 different schedules, sometimes more than that. If I'm helping, my sister has 4 children, and at times it takes more than just her and her husband to get child C from here to there. And so I step in and help at times. So there are times where I have more than 4 schedules on my calendar. And I say this to people all the time. If it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. So therefore, if I'm not putting self-care on my calendar, it's not going to exist. It's not going to happen unless I say, okay, in 2 weeks from today, I am going to go and get a massage, or I have a hair appointment, or I have a nail appointment, or whatever those things are that are self-care. If it's reading a book or going somewhere by yourself without friends, family, children, right? Having that quiet time. If it's a workout, my workouts are on my calendar. I work out every day in the morning before my day even starts. It's on my calendar because if it's not there, it doesn't exist. So in terms of planning for your own self-care and ensuring that it happens, whatever that is for you, if you don't keep a calendar like I keep a calendar, if you write everything down on a to-do list, put it on your to-do list. And when you're prioritizing that to-do list, give it top priority. It's always needing to be in a space where you are constantly looking and viewing and planning. It has to be a part of your plan.
You can make yourself a sticker chart like you do for your kids with chores, right?
100%.
Whatever works for you.
100%. If you have a chore chart for your children on your refrigerator, then you need to have a workout chart or a self-care chart or whatever your things are, drinking water chart. If that's your self-care, dude, you better have your giant jug of water sitting there.
So yes, obviously there's lots of ways we can keep track of our self-care, and we have to prioritize it because otherwise it won't happen. But here's a question for you. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, how do I avoid feeling guilty when I'm laying on that massage chair or I'm in the hammock and I'm like, I got to be doing X, Y, Z? How do we actually enjoy the self-care so it benefits us and not just adds more stress?
That's a really good question. And I would love to say I have mastered the ability to do that, but I would be lying to you. I think for each person, it's very different. And it's a personal conversation you have with yourself. For me, I lean into my faith and I say prayers when I'm having my me time, my whatever self-care, whatever those things look like when I'm doing them. And sometimes before I move into that space, if I'm going to get my nails done or I'm going to get my hair done or something along those lines, if I'm just going to go to my room and read for 20 minutes to get away from everything, then I will write down everything that's coming into my mind, whether it's work or kids, if I have lunch kits to go buy, school supplies, this, that, right? Write them down on in my notebook. I have a constant notebook that I keep with me everywhere. And when things come into my head, I write them down. I do that for multiple reasons. One, I don't trust my memory. I do have some health issues that mess with my memory, so I like to remember things very solidly. So I write them down. But I have found over the years, when I write the things down, before I move into a space where I'm conducting some sort of self-care, it takes the thoughts out of my head and it puts them on the paper. And then when that thought comes into my mind, I say, I wrote it down. I'm not going to think about it. I wrote it down. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to allow it to invade my space in my head that I'm trying to use to like decompress. I wrote it down. I'm not going to think about it. When I return to my desk, I will think about it again because it'll be right there in front of my face. I'm not going to think about it. And it takes a lot of training when the things you wrote down creep back into your head and you say, I wrote it down. I'm not going to think about it. Practice, 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 practice. And it still is a problem. Obviously, I still struggle with it, but that's how I manage it. That might not be the best way for you or for anybody listening to manage it, but finding a practice that you can make habitual and you can put it into a discipline that will help you to retrain your thought process on, I'm not going to feel overwhelmed. I'm not going to feel burnt out. And let's face it, the only reason why we feel overwhelmed or burnt out is because we're doing all the things, which in turn means we're 100% capable of doing the things. And therefore, the imposter syndrome is completely wiped out because we're doing the things. We're burnt out because we're doing all the things. So take a step back, write it all down, or put into practice whatever helps you get it out of your head for 20 minutes a day and realize that you're already achieving it.
Yeah, right. Well, writing it down is huge because that gives yourself the permission to say, already acknowledged that, I'll deal with it later.
Yep.
And focusing on the now. But I think there's another piece of this, which is kind of acknowledging that self-care isn't just a nice to have. I'm not like spoiling myself. Like this is actually allowing me to bring a better version of myself to the world, to my kids, to my clients. And if you don't believe me, like try it one day, like do a workout in the morning, see how you feel. Like, wow, I noticed I was a lot more productive in the afternoon. I didn't have a slump or whatever, or I ate a better meal at lunch. I didn't take a nap. I was able to, get all this stuff. Whatever it is, notice the difference and realize how much better you are as a person when you take care of yourself. And we know this, we tell this to other people. I mean, airplanes too, right? Own oxygen mask first, because then you can be of better service to others.
That's right.
Clearly. And so that applies to all these areas. And even if we take it to the step of in business, we put an hour on our time. Sometimes like I make $20 an hour, $40, whatever it is. If you want to be viewed as someone who is worthy of earning $50 an hour, $60 an hour, guess what? If you don't value your own time and capabilities, then other people aren't going to either. They're going to look at you and this guy looks tired and stressed all the time. But if you come full of energy, focused on the task, you're prepared ahead of time, it all works together. And that's because you've taken care of yourself. So you just kind of have to make it happen, prioritize it. Like you said, put it on the calendar.
Can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
So if your cup is empty, you have nothing to give, right? And true testament to everything that you're saying, it's 100% factual. You will notice a difference. And that you mentioned about, how do people not feel guilty? I can't answer that because I am a victim of it as well, right? If I sit and work for an extra hour at my desk and my kids are behind my desk on the floor coloring or asking me questions and I'm trying to finish this, right? How do I not feel guilty about not turning and giving them my attention and saying, oh, that picture looks beautiful. I love the way you colored his hair. It looks so fabulous. I didn't give them that 30 seconds of my time because I'm over here focusing on my task that I'm trying to work on and finish so that I can stop working and give them more attention. How do you not feel guilty about any of it? I don't know. I don't know how to prevent other people from feeling guilty. But what I say to myself every day, I make that all of us do. I'm certain all parents do this. They make the catalog in their head as they're going to sleep of what were the things that I maybe didn't do that great as a parent today, or a situation I didn't handle all that well. Okay, I didn't do well. How am I going to do better next time? Right?
Yeah.
So every day I go through those things. I think when I didn't stop to give them that attention, was I failing them? No. I always say no. Well, almost always. Because while I didn't give them my attention, they saw me doing something important. And while they understand that they are my top priority, they also know if mommy doesn't do her work, then mommy can't pay the bills. And if mommy can't pay the bills, then we don't have a bed to sleep in. Like we have those very, very real conversations with our young children. So they understand it. So my children see me working and they understand that my work is important. And while they know they are the most important thing, and they know that between these hours when mommy's computer is on and her headphones are on, she is working. And when daddy's computer is on and his headphones are on, he is working. And they understand that sometimes I want to stop and give you all my attention, but I can't do that right now. So this is what we're going to do. When the clock hits this time, I will stop and take a break and look at these things. And we have those conversations. And that helps me to not feel as guilty about splitting my time and attention between a job that I love doing and my children, whom I love taking care of and giving my attention to. And it's just a matter of conversation, decision, and priority. And then moving forward in that in a consistent manner so that there is consistency for them and there's consistency for you. And all the pieces will fall in the right places if you create the space for them.
Right. I mean, all of this is like a prerequisite to doing good work.
Yeah.
Like period. Even though we're talking about digital marketing, this is a non-digital organic thing that you have to do is take care of yourself in order to make better videos. You think about the videos you watch on your social media feeds. The people you're drawn to have energy. They're excited about what they're talking about. And they're usually more creative too. And so why not you? Why can't you be more like that? Take care of yourself. You can.
There's that comparison though. there's that comparison, right? You have to remember too, social media it's such a great tool. It's such a great tool, right? And it works so well for digital marketing.
Yeah.
And it does, because people are intrigued by it and it captures their attention. And that's like marketing 101, capture your audience's attention, right? So yes, 100% yes. But then you fall into that trap sometimes on a personal level where you start that comparison. So is it a great tool?
Well,
yes.
Comparison it depends what you do with it, right? So flipping the script, like if I look at that person and say, hey, they got a lot of energy, but that's not me. I could never do that. Or, wow, they have a lot of energy. I could do that. Maybe I should get to sleep a little earlier. Like learning from it rather than, kind of using it to beat yourself down.
Yeah.
So either way, it's a comparison.
In terms of taking that comparison and just deciding what you could do differently to walk into that direction of something that maybe you want. Like you said, you want to have more energy, right? Using that as an example, that's a great way to look at it. It's a great way to look at it.
All right. Well, we're coming up on our time. I think there's so much more we could talk about and get into with all of this. And it's something we usually focus on tactics and strategies and tools, which are all important things. But at the end of the day, any of those plus taking care of yourself, you're going to do a lot better. You're going to utilize these tools more effectively. You're going to have fewer excuses and you're going to have better results over time. So I'm glad we were able to, talk about this. And imposter syndrome, this all plays a very real part in our success or our stagnation. So
it does.
Thank you for joining me today, Ashlie. For those of you listening, go connect with Ashlie on LinkedIn to learn more about her and her company. And last question for you.
Yeah.
What has been your proudest marketing moment?
Wow. Seeing that I'm in the CFO role, I haven't really had any hands-on marketing that I produced to say that this is like my proudest marketing moment. But in terms of proudest moment working for a marketing company, it would have to be getting one of our clients to surpass one of their goals that they thought they couldn't even reach. Mm-hmm. I built a great relationship with one of our clients when I was in the account, representative area, and we fought tooth and nail in the dirt together. We were doing all kinds of stuff. I was on the phone with her once a week. It was a fight for a while, and now they have purchased a couple of other businesses, and they are really feeling the fruits of their labor. And 3 years later, and she was on the verge of closing her doors, but because I got into the mud with her and I said, no, this is what we're going to do. And we created a plan and a strategy, and we had tactics, and we tested and we retested, and we saw results, and we kept pushing forward. I would say my proudest marketing moment was working with her and growing with her and watching her and her husband astronomically exceed what they expected to be able to do in a short period of time because we got in the mud with them. That was one of my proudest moments.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show for everybody else, like, hey, don't give up on this stuff. Sometimes you need someone to help you through it, but it can be gotten through.
It can be.
And it's worth it.
It's always doable. Always. I have faith.
That's right. Well, thanks again for being here, Ashlie. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all of you for listening. Don't be afraid to get started and keep making consistent progress. I'll see you all in the next episode. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to the Digital Dominance Podcast. This show is brought to you by FroBro.com. FroBro is on a mission to rid the world of terrible websites, and we love helping our clients grow their businesses as big as our hair. Right now, FroBro is offering an SEO plus leads bundle where you can get warm leads every month without having to wait for the SEO to ramp up. To learn more, go to FroBroLeads.com.